Hello, I'm Mike Progress, and I serve as Assistant Dean for the College of Business. First of all, I'd like to welcome you to the College of Business. During your SOAR experience, you'll be meeting with an academic advisor to talk about and register for your fall schedule. I'd like to take a couple minutes with you to help you better prepare yourself for the advising and registration portion of your SOAR component. Your advisor will most likely walk through two areas with you of the online MyLewis portal. One will be the records and registration area. This is where you'll be able to see course offerings, how many seats are available, is the course closed, what time's the course going to be offered. The second part that they'll cover is a thing called Degree Works Audit. This can be found in the MyLewis portal under Resources, under the Resources tab, and it's Degree Works. So when you pull that up, that will give you your customized plan of what courses you need to complete in order to complete all your degree and major requirements. If you have any courses that you've had sent in as a transfer student or transfer courses, those should already be loaded in along with any AP, dual credit, anything that you're getting college credit should be there. That being said, when you're meeting with your advisor, perhaps you took an AP class and the score isn't here at Lewis yet. When you're selecting your courses, I'd encourage you to speak up and say, hey, you're putting me in this history course, but I may have AP credit coming for that course. In a situation like that, we could just hold off on that particular course. Also, if you're a transfer student, perhaps you're taking or a first-year student, you perhaps are taking a summer course to either finish up or get a jump start here at Lewis. Mention any of that if it happens that course isn't notated on your Degree Works audit. Basically, the Degree Works audit will have three components that you'll see. At the top, there will be what's your future, it'll have the credit hour, GPA, that won't be populated yet, but it'll tell you the 128, some basic information, your major, your advisor, and then you get into the three academic components. The first will show your gen ed requirements. Then most of you will see a second area, and that will be the business core foundation area. And then the third area near the bottom will be your major and the requirements for your actual major. And under that, you may see some, especially if you're a transfer student, you may see some elective hours. Those three components, gen ed, core foundation, and major, generally do not add up to be 128 credit hours, but your degree requires 128. So at some point, you'll need to talk with your academic advisor, not necessarily at SOAR, you push this down, to determine how we're going to hit the 128. Most students, in my experience, will do open elective credit. They will do maybe a minor or two. Some will explore a double major and pick up the extra credit hours that way, that they need to get those hours to hit the 128 anyway. So that's something to think about. So I have a list of things that, and a couple of them are already mentioned, but just things that might be unique that I see commonly when I've done advising at the SOAR session. The first one I mentioned is the dual credit AP summer course. So like I said, if your scores or the course is in progress, speak up if you're not seeing it on the Degree Works so we don't end up putting you in a course that you don't need. When you're in the records and registration tab, look at course locations. Like if you're one that likes your courses back to back, it'd help to familiarize yourself a little bit with the campus map. That way you don't have like a 9 a.m. course here in Romeo, which is located on the far north end of campus, and then select perhaps a gen ed course that might be way on the south end. Generally, there's a 10 to 15 minute gap between back-to-back courses, and it would be near impossible to make it. You would be having to run from here to there. So kind of watch course locations when you're going through everything. If you're a first-year student, your advisor will mention this, but have it on your radar. It'll help you out. There's a 1 credit hour cornerstone course that you need to take. And then speaking of that, a question you might have is like, well, how many courses should I take in the fall? And that's kind of your comfort zone. For first year students, a good benchmark in my mind is if you're not coming in with dual credit or AP, which is fine, if you know you never want to go to summer school or take any summer courses because you're working or just can't do it, or you just want to break over the summer, like I said, it's 128 credit hours. So 128 divided by 8 semesters equals 16 on average, which the first semester you could do 16 if you chose. But usually things are 3 credit hour courses are the ones you're going to most see. So you're probably going to be at 15 or 18. So 15 is fine. Just realize that you got to throw an 18 in there every once in a while to stay on track. That way you don't come up on senior year and be like, well, why am I 7 or 6 credit hours short? That's because that 1 credit hour kept adding up after semester, and we put a shortage there at the end. So, a couple other things to think about when you're picking your schedule. If you're a student athlete, make sure you speak up with your advisor. If you have a practice time, say at 2 o'clock or something like that, let them know so they can customize the schedule. The other thing for student athletes and anybody that might have a job that is more intense during certain times of the year, for example, if somebody's working retail and they know that late November and December is just chaotic, where I talked about that average. So maybe in the fall, you'd want to do a 15 and then an 18 in spring when it gets a little bit lighter at work. So consider those things when you're making up your schedule, and you can talk to your advisor about that. Another thing to consider when you're looking at courses, as an undergrad, every course that you look at will have a 4-letter department code followed by 5 numbers and then 3 numbers for the section. The first number you see after the letters is somewhat important. And I'll tell you right now, you will see a 1, a 2, a 3, or a 4. Generally, 1 and 200 level courses are more things that you'd want to consider for freshman, sophomore year, and then your 300 and 400 level courses are the little ones that can be a little bit more challenging. So that might be something to think about for junior or senior year. Not to say I haven't seen seniors taking a 100 level gen ed course or a sophomore taking a 300 level course, but just some things to keep in mind when you're picking out your schedule. Course cycling. Your advisor will help you with this time, but realize that if your degree work, say you need X course, that course might be offered every semester, or it might be a course that's only what we call a fall-based or a spring-based course. So kind of watch that when you're doing your long-term planning for advising. It's kind of good to look at that so you don't, especially when you hit junior and senior year, so you don't come up on that last semester and be like, I'm graduating in May, and realize that there was a course that's only offered in the fall that somehow got bypassed. So watch course cycling. That information, you'll be able to get that from your advisor. Also, when you're selecting courses in the registration and records area, like I said, you're going to have the 4 letters for the department, the 5 numbers for the course itself, and then it'll be followed by 3 numbers. It should be for you numbers, but you will see sometimes an L in there. And usually if it's an L, another key factor is it won't be a 16-week course. It will be a 8-week course. Those are reserved for our adult students and or graduate students. And another key with grad courses are, instead of the 1, 2, 3, 4 that I mentioned, they would have a 5 or a 6 that their numbers would start off as. So, like I said, I just wanted to mention a few things which may or may not pertain to you, that just to help you make the most of your time with your advisor at SOAR and make it a more enjoyable experience. So some of you might like to plan ahead, and if you are, you might be wondering, well, I'm meeting with an advisor now. We're going to do my fall schedule, but what about the spring? How am I going to get registered for my spring courses, or how does that all work? Well, most likely you'll receive an email with a link to your advisor's available advising appointments, and that should come out generally sometime in October, so watch for that. It'll have a link. You'll be able to sign up with an advisor. Like I said, your advisor will be listed in the email, but also in your degree works. It'll list who your permanent advisor is at some point. Once we get into the fall term, you'll be assigned a permanent advisor. You'll set up a thing, come in with a proposed schedule, kind of just like SOAR. You'll go over everything, make sure that you're on track, that your long-term registration is taken care of, and then you'll be assigned a new registration access code, because those change every semester. You've got to see an advisor every semester. So in closing, I want to thank you for your time and listening to me go on here, and I want to wish you all the very best here in the College of Business. Thank you.